We're back here on another OverReaction Monday. We are back here once again. Someone had somewhat of a bad week last week, so we back here once again. So, fellas, what's going on? What's going on, JP? What's going on, Mo?
No words to say, Mo. I'll get your money back tomorrow. God dang Vikings. Just lost to freaking Cooper Rush. Lost to Gold Rush.
Hey, man.
Well, I mean,
It happens, brother. It happens, brother.
Yeah. Some of us can be 6-1.
No words.
Some of us can be 6-1.
Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush. God, might as well lose to Geno Smith next week.
Probably.
All right.
Geno was balling yesterday while you playing.
Right. He made us eat our words on Saturday. Big time.
It was a clean sweep when we picked Jacksonville, wasn't it?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
It was a clean sweep. He balled yesterday.
Yeah. And that's unprecedented.
Yeah. Tyler Lockett had the game of his life. Like, he looked like he did the first 2 weeks.
DK had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I was going to say, DK had 2 touchdowns. Bro, they torched.
Crazy. So, fellas, this was a Monday like no other in the NFL, man. We had 2 big colossal stories. The major story, obviously, Von Miller being traded to the LA Rams. So, and once again, I'm shocked that the Rams have draft picks, but the Rams do have draft picks. They traded their second and third round pick of 2022 to Denver, and the Rams get the Super Bowl 50 MVP and Von Miller. JP, your thoughts on this trade?
It's a good trade for Von Miller because, he's still a really good, valuable asset in that linebacker position, depending on where you go. And going with the Rams, where you already got Aaron Donald, who's arguably the best defensive player in the game, got Jalen Ramsey, possibly the best corner in the game, teaming up with Von Miller. I mean, the Rams are looking really good. Like, you could just tell that the Rams are trying to win that championship. It's like, okay, we're going to get Matthew Stafford. We're going to load up and win, right away. So you could just tell they want the championship. And you see for Denver, they're just trying to rebuild, with that team they have and all that, just to get away a player like Von Miller. And Mo said it, on Saturday that he wasn't going to be playing because he might be into the trade deadline and stuff. And you see he didn't play yesterday for Denver. And you saw the results, and you seen his interview. He was holding back tears, But I feel like those are fake tears. He was kind of happy inside that call. It's like, man, I'm going to a championship contender team like the Rams. They're looking really good. They're looking really good. So they're trying to win right away. So that's what I thought about when Von Miller went to the Rams. So they really trying to win that NFC and trying to go to that Super Bowl.
Yeah, Mo, your thoughts on the trade?
Yeah, it was. I mean, let's just be honest. So, and Steven is my witness. Y'all are my witness. I've been on the Rams train as far as just how good they could be with the moves they made. Obviously grabbing Jalen Ramsey, but especially the upgrade with Matt Stafford. And I'm like, that already puts them up there as one of the Super Bowl favorites, right? Like, that puts them right in the same conversation as Green Bay and Tampa, right? Now you got the Rams, the Cardinals, Green Bay, Tampa, and Dallas. Those are the teams right now. We don't see any other team coming out of the NFC. We're almost at a point we might not see any other team but those teams win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Regardless of who comes out the AFC. I guess Buffalo will give them a run for their money, but those might be your 5 Super Bowl favorites right now. Yep. And so to add Von Miller, it tells you what we already knew when they grabbed Matt Stafford, when they gave up all them picks for Jalen Ramsey. They in win now mode. Once they grabbed Matt Stafford, we knew like they are in win now mode. The biggest thing, though, is now the pressure's on. The press, you just raised the stakes a little bit. And I'm not saying they fold. They've been to the Super Bowl before, and they've got an upgraded roster everywhere except running back. When you really think about it, I mean, Aaron Donald just even better. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey, best corner in the game. You got another pass rusher that you're putting opposite Aaron Donald. I think Aaron Donald benefits from this trade more than anybody because the D-line, I guess you would say it was their weakest spot because they weren't very talented outside of the best defensive lineman in football. But now, like, you're not going to see him get 3 guys' attention. You're lucky if you're able to put 2 guys' attention on Aaron Donald. So now you're talking about possibly Donald and Von Miller having one-on-one matchups against offensive linemen. And for years, we've seen what that does to a quarterback. Like, we've seen, now you put both of them together. I'm not saying the Rams win the Super Bowl, but what I'm saying is that's going to be a pretty damn good team to have to play to get there. Like, that's going to be a very tough roadblock, like, for my Cowboys to get there. Like, having to go through the Rams with the havoc that they can wreak. Woo-wee. Hey, the Rams are in win now, but I will say, like I said, all the pressure's on because it's Super Bowl or bust over the next year or two. That's just, you give up all your draft picks for Ramsey and Stafford and now Von Miller. It's Super Bowl or bust because you ain't going to be able to make a lot of noise at free agency. You got to retain your talent now. And obviously, you ain't going to be able to draft too much depth for the simple fact you ain't got no draft picks. So in the next year or two, they got to win the Super Bowl for this to be a successful trade, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's definitely a great trade for the Rams because you think about it, they're only really on the hook for $750,000 of his salary. Denver's going to cover the other $9 million. So you got to think to yourself, that's a great deal on their end. And also for Denver, I look at Denver, they just rebuilding. Hey, you get a second and a third, you can get value with that, potentially stockpile some, because this team is in a somewhat of a rebuild. There could just be a situation where maybe they use those picks to pony up to get a quarterback. Who's to say with that? But like with the Rams, and I think it just makes sense for them because I think even a second or a third round pick that they would have drafted in 2022 wouldn't have been playing on this team as far as starting or have somewhat of an impact that Von Miller would have, even if they were just to keep him for only the final 14, 15 weeks, whatever we got left until now the Super Bowl. So I think what he will give them in that short period of time, if they don't resign him, will pay more dividends than a second and third round pick of next year. So great move for them. And like you said, the Rams, like you said, do they really need draft picks? Because they're so deep in so many positions. It's almost like, you get these guys, but will they even hit the field? You even look at like the situation, like look how their wide receiver depth. Like we thought Deshaun Jackson was in the resurrection of a season. He can't even get on the field because they're so deep at the wide receiver position. So you think to yourself,
I thought Tutu Atwell was an impact player. Like I thought he was going to play a lot. Like, he really did. I think like he's dynamic.
Right. Just like what Dabo said, we too deep. And they really are deep in a lot of positions. So that second and third really isn't really going to make a difference for that Rams team. And like I said, it's winner now. And the Rams have been like that team I've been looking at as well. I mean, obviously, I always lament about Sean McVay, so I talk about him ad nauseum, obviously. But, but yeah, I definitely think this is a good trade for the Rams. And like you said, it's Super Bowl or bust. And they,
And you said a key thing, Couch, my bad, JP. You said a key thing. I think they was going to have to get rid of Von Miller to do exactly what you said they're going to do. Yeah. I don't think Denver's rebuilding. I think they're a quarterback away, like you said. And so I think these second-round pick, an extra third-round pick, some first-round picks, I don't know if they're going to have to give up a player. I don't know if they're going to be looking at, is Deshaun Watson, like Freddie said, is Deshaun Watson the answer? Do they go a little lesser and test the water on Sam Darnold? I think they want better than that. I don't think Sam Darnold will be an upgrade from Teddy Bridgewater, so I would assume they're going to swing for the fence. Another quarterback, they say Deshaun Watson, another quarterback, when we thought he was going to get traded that had been around, the rumor mill was Aaron Rodgers. So, do they go the Aaron Rodgers route? Does Russell Wilson end up wanting out of Seattle? Like you said, Couch, I think they swing for the fences, and I think they knew they was going to have to give up a piece to swing for the fences, and giving up Von Miller, getting another two day two picks, a second and a third round pick. That's big time for the possibility of Denver because they got the receiver core. The O-line's okay. They can upgrade there depending on how many picks they got to give up for whatever guy. But their wide receiver core is good. They got some good running backs. Still, they're always pretty solid and stout on defense. So I think it's big for both because the Broncos don't have to rebuild and the Rams just up their chance of going in the Super Bowl. They went to plus 450 the minute that was breaking news. As far as I think they're the second favorite They're either the favorite or second favorite to win the Super Bowl now in Vegas.
So so before we get on, I got a special guest here. What up? What up, Steven?
Hey, it's good to be a G. You know what I'm saying?
Right, the Rams guy himself. Man,
y'all good?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Merry Christmas to you. You get a Super Bowl MVP.
I'm thankful. It's November.
Right.
Christmas came early in LA already. Shout out to back-to-back home Super Bowl appearances. The Bucks did it in Tampa, now the Rams do it in LA.
I might get to LA after this. I might move to LA.
I feel you.
It's big time.
So, Steven, man, your thoughts on Von Miller coming to the Rams?
It feels like any season I've ever done in Madden. I always trade for Von Miller. What team I have? If sometimes I don't even do it as the Rams. I did it as a season with the Bears and put him on that defense. And I think that we're going to get a lot of that now because hey, everyone's not talking about Leonard Floyd too. Like he's not going to eat too. I mean, there's just too much pass rushing on this team right now, and he's going to have like 3 seconds before he needs to make a read now because there's going to be so much heat on the quarterback, no matter who it is, no matter what offensive line it is. You got a point of attack defender coming at you from every single angle on the defensive line. You got it on both corners, and now you got it up the middle, and now you got one of the best covers cornerbacks in the entire league gonna eat because of this. It's awesome. Look, I feel like it's Super Bowl potential. Now, obviously, things happen, and it's the NFL. Surprises happen all the time, but I mean, if we're not the Super Bowl favorites right now, I don't know. It has to just only be Tampa Bay because of Tom Brady. I think the Super Bowl comes down to either Tampa or LA now coming out of the NFC. And I know it's OverReaction Monday, so it's okay for me to say this, but that's honestly how I'm feeling right now. No offense, Mo. No offense, because your Cowboys are having a heck of a season. I don't know who can stop the Rams other than the Rams.
I'll disagree with you.
They're the most complete team in the NFL. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think they win the NFC West now because Kyler sprained his ankle. He could be out 1 to 3 weeks. That him being out 3 weeks already, they're neck and neck. The only thing the Cardinals have is the head-to-head matchup.
Yep.
But now like the Cardinals do have later on in the season when records really start mattering, they have to play the Cowboys. If they lose and the Rams catches one of their weaker opponents, that's one game up. I think it's the Rams. They should be in the driver's seat. And like you said, I guess to me, the only thing the Rams do have to do, they got to hope the Cardinals drop a couple and they win the division because the Rams do not want to go away. Mm-hmm. They don't want to play nothing but road games and go through, Tampa and then go through Dallas or wherever. Go through Dallas, go through however they got to do it or go through Green Bay in order to play the home Super Bowl at LA. So the key thing for the Rams is, you got to keep playing the way you playing. But you got to look over at Arizona. You got to beat them the next time they play and hope they drop a couple as you drop a couple because the Rams, this will be tough for any of those teams that don't win the division to have to go on the road and every game dang near to get to LA. That's almost impossible with who you'll have to go through.
Yep.
And no one wants to come to LA either. Like that's
no. It's 5 teams.
Here's the thing, too, is that Henderson out of the backfield, no one's really talking about him a lot.
He's doing good.
Offense. Yeah. He's had a really good season.
He's doing good.
And Cooper Kupp this year.
Oh, my God.
That's why we're in the league.
I was going to say, just no arguments. Top 3 receiver in the league.
Yeah.
Zero argument there.
No argument. He's the best wide receiver in the league.
There's an argument
numbers.
There's an argument for best, but I'm saying easily top 3 in the league this
year.
Oh, yeah.
Stafford
Stafford is a top 5 quarterback in the league this year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And now with this defense, I mean, from this week on, you could be looking at a top 5 defense. Like those are all the ingredients for a Super Bowl contender. Look at what Tampa did last year. Their defense caught fire towards the end of the season.
Yep.
They have a top quarterback. They have a top receiver. And their running backs, they're not the best running backs, but it's a good
Very serviceable.
I mean, there's a whole lot to like about this Rams team. The only thing I see getting in our way are ourselves, in all honesty. And really, whoever comes out of the NFC this year, I feel is going to win the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter who comes out. Whoever wins the NFC should be the Super Bowl champ.
Oh yeah. I agree. The only thing I'm just worried about out of the three, defensive key guys is Von Miller going to the Rams. Can he stay healthy? That's the question. That's the question is, can he stay healthy? Because he's been pretty healthy all season. So could he stay healthy, these last, weeks before the playoffs and all that? Because, if he's not healthy, the Rams still can make it to the Super Bowl, but I mean, it'd be a tough challenge, though.
Not really. Von Miller is a luxury, not a necessity.
Exactly.
Like, he was a luxury for the Rams. Like, so if you lose him, you didn't give up a starter right now. Like, you didn't lose anybody on your roster. So if Von Miller does get hurt, you still look at Rams as one of the 4 or 5 Super Bowl contenders. Right now, you look at them as the favorite. You'd probably bet the most money on them. But, even still, if Von doesn't come in, but I think the Rams are at an advantage because he doesn't have to play that much. You can get him acclimated, let him get the game minutes to keep him in game form, but you can kind of save him for the playoffs essentially and just let him play here and there, take some series off because that's when he's necessary. I mean, he was a luxury.
Third down rusher. I mean, that's the third down rusher. And here's the thing. Adding him on a defense with, yes, Aaron Donald, yes, Jalen Ramsey, and again, I'm going to mention my boy because no one's talking about him, Leonard Floyd. You can't double team all of them.
They have to change offensive schemes
so much, and that includes Von Miller. Yeah. Aaron Donald up the gut is gonna command a center and one of the guards, right? So there's 2 of your dudes right there, and then either Floyd or Miller are gonna be in single coverage, and each one of them you do that to, you're taking a risk, and you can have a situation where you have 2 edge rushers coming off of one side. Like, that's what's scary.
Nasty.
That left side where if you have Miller and Floyd coming off of the strong side of Aaron Donald, that's scary for any offensive line and quarterback. You're going to have to throw Ben Roethlisberger type, passes where it's under 2 seconds, or you're going to end up on your backside. It's scary. It's scary for quarterbacks right now.
So we got another guest in the building. Kenneth, what's up?
Hello there. I heard that we were talking about players named Cooper, and
not quite yet.
Kenneth, no, don't do that.
Is that allowed? Hey, I didn't even mention the Dallas Coopers. I was talking about Cooper Kupp. But if you guys want to talk about Dallas, we can.
No, we good.
Hey, fellas.
No.
Hey, fellas, I'm gonna bounce. I've been tuning in. I've been listening. I'm gonna keep listening. I got to run to the store and get some hard drive. I got to do some stuff for the show, the stuff that no one gets to see behind the scenes. I got to make sure my stuff's straight for off the ball, man. But I appreciate y'all having me. Thanks for letting me. Great lap. Love y'all. Y'all be blessed. It's great to be a gangster. Y'all have a good day.
All right. Once again, Merry Christmas, Steven.
I show up for 5 seconds and scare him off the show like Jesus.
I mean, you have that effect sometimes, especially when you're Cowboys. Nah, but you're good. You're good, Kenneth. So before we go on to our next topic, your thoughts on Von Miller to the Rams? What you got?
I mean, that just makes them the second best team in the NFC behind the Dallas Cowboys. So
let them know, dog. Let them know.
No, in all seriousness, Steven hit the nail on the head where, even if you lose Von Miller, you didn't give up anything. I think it actually might have been Mo that said that. But overall, if Von's playing, that's terrifying. You already have Ramsey shutting down one side of the field, and now you've got this pass rush that they're going to have with Donald and with Von Miller and all these other guys there. So overall, it just makes the defense that much better. The Rams have looked really good with Darrell Henderson running the ball. Yeah. We saw Robert Woods finally get going yesterday because he hadn't even really been doing much in that offense. So overall, I think the Rams look terrifying for any team that plays them this year.
Big time. So, fellas, like we said, this was an unprecedented Monday in the NFL world. And another one, we had Derrick Henry injury. Potentially, I've heard 6 to 10 weeks. Injury with King Henry. So JP, your thoughts on Derrick Henry's injury and the impact on the Titans?
Oh man, it's really tough because Derrick Henry's like that driving force, that engine, for the Titans. They signed Adrian Peterson, very serviceable running back now. I can't really say he's the old Adrian Peterson and all that, so very serviceable. They have to the pressure's really on Ryan Tannehill to be able to have like a really good like rest of the season and everything with the receivers he have. With AJ Brown, he got to step up to the plate. He's been doing pretty good the past couple weeks though. So the Titans in the AFC, I mean, they still can be like the second or third best team though, but with Henry being out though, that could take like a load off in the running game, the way that he plays with the power and the finesse and the speed. And it's going to be really tough for the Titans the rest of the season. They can still get the wins and still can make the playoffs, but they're not going to be like, the favorites or anything going into the AFC Championship and all that. So, but with him being out, that's just really sad for Tennessee. So prayers to the Tennessee Titans and everybody in Tennessee.
Yeah. Kenneth, I'm dying for your reaction. Just the smirk on your face. I'm ready for it. Kenneth, what you get?
I mean, I'm shocked that Adam Schefter didn't just say that the Tennessee Titans offense is out for 6 to 10 weeks. Isn't that the update? Isn't that the update?
Perhaps. But,
I try to be nice.
So Julio's missing time.
Yep.
As well. He's been in and out of the lineup. He also hasn't been Julio of old,
No.
which I actually said coming into this season that we might see the AJ Green effect of an aging wide receiver that was once great, injuries catching up with him.
Yep.
So an offense of just Ryan Tannehill and AJ Brown is not going to win very many football games. But that being said, the next stretch of games, it's not that bad after this Rams game, because I think we all assume with Henry out, the Rams should steamroll them in this game.
Yep.
But then you get Saints with no Winston. You get the Texans, you get the Patriots, then your bye week, and then the Jags. So really, if they can't win football games over this next little bit, then they're going to miss the playoffs, because late in the year, you do get Pittsburgh, you get the 49ers, some tougher defenses before closing it out with Miami and the Texans. So overall, should they still win the division with the double tiebreaker over the Colts? They should.
Yeah.
But if Henry's not 100%, first round and out, like 100%, they're not beating anyone in the playoffs if they don't have Derrick Henry. As you said, 6 to 10 weeks. So if you're a fantasy owner, you're praying that it's 6 weeks, 8 weeks. 8 weeks is what they said they anticipate it's going to be. So the 8-week mark, that's when you're getting in the fantasy playoffs. So you better hope that you get that first round bye, which when you're missing Derrick Henry is going to be very tough to do. So we know the Titans defense isn't going to stop anybody. They haven't done it all year. They've really just been outscoring people. So their entire offense is out unless Ryan Tannehill actually performs like this great quarterback that people seem to think that he is, that he's the one that makes this ship go, then the Titans are in trouble.
Yeah. Mo, what you got?
I mean, we all know I'd love to see nothing more than the Tennessee Titans will falter. Like, let's just be honest. And I've been said, I mean, we've all argued, but everybody has said but I've been said that Derrick Henry is the most important guy on this offense. Like, we could say whatever, we could argue all day about, we could deep dive into analytics and whenever Ryan Tannehill hands the ball after a big completion, we can do all that. Yep. Everybody watches the Tennessee Titans, and everybody see the same thing. We watch Derrick Henry carry them to AFC Championship game. I don't care what nobody talking about. You can't tell me the most important player on your team is your quarterback, and he throws for 70-something yards in a playoff game. I'm sorry. While your running back runs for 200. Like, who is the most important player in the game? It's your running back. Your running back puts your team on your back. You come back and win a game with your running back. Like, teams don't do that now. This is a pass-heavy league. You put it all on your quarterback. They put it all on their running back. We are about to see with that week schedule, though, how good Ryan Tannehill could be, because these are, like Kenneth said, these are some winnable games with or without Derrick Henry. Like, these really are. But these are some winnable games without Derrick Henry. Like Houston, New England starting to come into form a little bit. I guess they've gotten some wins. They've played really well. They look like they could compete at the very least. So they'll be a tougher out without Derrick Henry. But like you said, they got the Texans twice. Like even if they're on playoff pace and Derrick Henry waits until closer to the playoffs, like they got some weak opponents after the Rams where like they should do fairly well, especially like Kenneth said, with being up, having beat the Colts twice. So, but we'll see. Like, God knows I'm leaving the chat if Ryan Tannehill looks like an MVP candidate and the like Super Bowl contenders. Y'all know I'm gone because I'm not dealing with that. But it's not gonna happen, so I'm not worried about it. It's not gonna happen. They're gonna win games. They're gonna win games, but it ain't gonna be because Ryan Tannehill looks like an MVP.
That's a good point. With Derrick Henry out the fold, it just brings like a lot of flaws to Ryan Tannehill. It's just a lot of questions like, can he really play? Can he really carry this team? He signed that contract. You got to live up to that contract. So,
also, how many carries can AP really give you anymore at this stage of his career? Like, okay, he gives you 15 carries, 20 at the very max. So then we're looking at McNichols or whatever the hell his name is, or whoever the hell their backup running back is.
Yeah.
They're going to be taking carries. Like, that's not scaring any defense. If Julio's in and out of the lineup, you double A.J. Brown. We saw what happened when Tannehill didn't have A.J. Brown or Julio. Well, even if you take A.J. out of the game, they lost to the New York Jets. So, like, let's see, because I just explained their schedule. That's not saying that they're going to win those games necessarily. Like, we just watched New Orleans beat Tampa Bay, who had Tom Brady at quarterback. Ryan Tannehill is not Tom Brady. He's never going to be Tom Brady, not even close to Tom Brady.
And Derrick Henry isn't the rest of these running backs. That's the biggest thing.
Yep.
Is we look at everybody. Derrick Henry, he's different. Like, and I know we tend to say it, but we find certain, and they just different. Adrian Peterson was once that. LaDainian Tomlinson was once that. Like, yeah, you could do the two-back system. Zeke and Tony Pollard look amazing. We were waiting for the Rams to have Henderson and Cam Akers this year. Like, there was some, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. But when you have a do-it-all guy, like when all else fails, just hand it to Derrick Henry. Because he's so big. I mean, he's really the Hall of Fame version of Brandon Jacobs, if you really think about it. We've seen a guy with this size before in Brandon Jacobs, but he didn't have the speed. He didn't have the finesse. He's the same size as Brandon Jacobs, but literally if Brandon Jacobs was a Hall of Famer, this would be Brandon Jacobs 2.0. So that's my biggest thing is with losing that. He was a do-it-all guy. Like, their backup running back got 0 playing time. McNichols, the only time he played a lot was when Derrick Henry I think he was banged up a little bit from practice, and they played him a lot. I think it was against the Jets. But other than that, like, their backup running back gets no play. Like, none. Like, this is an all Derrick Henry offense, unlike most other offenses where we see their second guy is able to come in and make sure their guy is healthy. Everything as far as the run game and even passes caught out the backfield, run through Derrick Henry. So,
look at how their offense runs. They always start slow, and as the game progresses, Derrick Henry weighs the other team's defense down. And then the fourth quarter, you see it in his carries. It's like 3 yards a carry in the first quarter compared to like 7 in the fourth. So this Titans offense never looked great early on with Henry. It's always later in the game. So if that disappears, then what do you have in Tennessee? So
yeah, and I think, like you said, the Tennessee thing, and I think we kind of touched on a lot on See You Sunday, where this was an important win for the Titans. It pretty much gave it somewhat of a cushion because I think, like you said, we look at the Colts, a situation where they've been struggling. Maybe they kind of get on a somewhat on a streak because they've been in close games. They lost games, heartbreaking losses in overtime, including the one yesterday. I look at that situation, and like you said, Kenneth, point where that offense. The thing is, Derrick Henry is the immovable object. Like, there's no, Adrian Peterson. Yeah, I would have loved this in 2007, 2010 ish. Like, but now, no. they're not gonna be able to get him. And like you said, at his age, he's 37 years old. Well, no, he's 36. He's 36 years old. So you're not gonna, get that same Adrian Peterson, the 2012 MVP Adrian Peterson. So you look at that situation, and even with their schedule, as you alluded to, Kenneth, it's doable. No pun intended, but I think they can literally limp their way to an AFC South championship.
Yeah.
So and that's what I said, it's so important to win these games early to give yourself a cushion. But things like this happening to you, and now, like you said, we're gonna see about Ryan Tannehill, and we're gonna see if Mo have conversation in the middle of the day about Ryan Tannehill. Against his fan club.
You just talked about it. They may limp to a division title because they're already sitting on 6 wins. They might only need 4 more the rest of the way, because the Colts are 3-5. So unless we see Carson Wentz 2017 on steroids, then chances are they're not getting to 10 wins this year. So they probably win the division, especially with all these winnable games.
Big time. So, fellas, let's get into the meat of overreaction Monday. Fellas, Lord, didn't mean it to come on like that. But
It's just the fact you said pause. I'll just let it ride, but you pause. Like
I thought about it. I'm like, whoa. Pause. All right, so the biggest winner this week in week 8 of the NFL season, JP, what you got?
I'll let them go first because I already know the answer.
Okay, well, I got Cooper and Cooper.
All right, so I'm gonna go first. The backup quarterbacks, period. Like Cooper Rush, Mike White, Trevor Siemian. Who else? What other backup?
Smith played good.
Gino.
But I'll give him the back. I'll put him on that list, even though he's been starting because Russell Wilson's out. But guys who got their first start or had to come in and be the relief hitter. I mean, look, Trevor Siemian had to relieve Jameis. Oh, y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Trevor Siemian had to lead a W against the Tampa Bay Bucks, the former Super Bowl champ, in a game that even with Jameis, you know what I'm saying? I was the only one who even had a feeling, but we kind of all thought, the Bucks were going to take care of business.
Yep.
Cooper Rush against a good team, or what everybody told me was a good team, in the Minnesota Vikings, that this was a trap game for Dallas. No Dak, really shouldn't have a chance. I said I didn't trust Cooper Rush, so I'm going to come out here. And I said I didn't trust Cooper Rush. I expected a big game. I expected a big game from Zeke. I expected a big game, from Tony Pollard. But the part of the problem was I didn't expect such a bad game from Kirk Cousins. Like, I thought, and Kenneth told me primetime Kirk going to show up, and we know he don't do great in prime time. And I was like, our defense is good, but when you got Cooper Rush at quarterback, but either way, then Mike White. Like, if we really give all the backup quarterbacks the biggest winner, the biggest winner of all of them is Mike White. Bro, he came in and throws for over 400 yards, had 2 turnovers. Remember, I said he was perfect. He was 10 for 10, hadn't had an incompletion yet, hadn't thrown a touchdown pass. So I'm like, do we have a quarterback competition in New York? And boom, he throws a pick. Then boom, they get the ball back. He throws a pick again. And I'm like, well, so much for a quarterback competition. And this man in the second half goes absolutely insane. Obviously, CouchCoach, your nephew had a huge part in Mike White's success. Yeah. But he played absolutely amazing. And if anybody know about him, he went to Western Kentucky. He was slinging the ball like that at Western Kentucky. Remember, Western Kentucky was ranked at one point. They had a nice offense. That was with Mike White at quarterback. So we got, he had a flashback of what he was like in college. He played amazing, and he beat a team that had just convinced most of the NFL community that they are for real, that they could not only win their division, but that they could win. They could compete. They might be the toughest thing to compete for the Bills. They just did that. And boom, over 500 yards of offense to the New York Jets. After convincing us that y'all were competitive to head to the Super Bowl, biggest get in the Bills' way, and y'all do that against the Jets. bye Cincinnati. But all the backup quarterbacks are the biggest winner.
Told you, the Jets, the NFL League Pass team. Kendall, what you got?
I don't know. Mo took mine, and that kind of makes me mad. But Pittsburgh, I think the Steelers are big winners yesterday.
Oh
because you go into Cleveland, and your defense wins you the football game.
Yep.
I'm not giving any credit to Big Ben and that offense.
No,
because we know damn well why they won that game. You scored 15 points and won the game. Give your defense some love.
Yep.
And this was a defense that they were a little banged up early in the year, and now they're healthy. They look a lot better. They went into Cleveland. Big Ben might as well be the owner of the Cleveland Browns, given his history against them. He doesn't deserve it yesterday, but overall, his career, he does. So I think Pittsburgh, because when you look at that division, what happened yesterday with the Bengals losing to the Jets, and then you beat Cleveland, Ravens coming off bye week next week, like that is a crucial game in that division. And I think it puts them in a great position now to really fight for a wild card spot, because there's not a lot of teams in the AFC right now that we consider playoff teams. Like, what's the list? 8, maybe 9 teams? And Pittsburgh's one of them. Probably all 4 in that division are. And if they would have lost that game, if they fall to 3-4, it's probably season over for them at that point. So you got to give big props to the Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
JP, your winner.
Yeah, the backup quarterbacks did really well. The Patriots did really well yesterday, beating the Chargers. You look at the stats of Justin Herbert, and we said that Justin Herbert's worst game last year was against the Patriots. Bill Belichick did a good job again this year, and this is, you look at Justin Herbert, through them 2 interceptions, his quarterback rating is 16. And in terms of rushing, 75 yards. Keenan Allen didn't have that explosive game because Justin Herbert was struggling. That offense was struggling against a pretty good Patriots defense. And then also, I want to give Justin Fields some love because we finally see how he played yesterday. Like, he got 103 yards and carried the ball like 9 to 10 times and got a touchdown. So Matt Nagy, if you're paying attention, this is how Justin Herbert played, because he wasn't on the sideline yesterday. So it just tells you that Matt Nagy's the problem in Chicago. So he needs to go get some tape and from that game and look at what's the best for Justin Fields and how to put him in a successful position, because this kid could really play. We've been saying that this kid can really play, but he's just been, coached by the wrong coach, and he played really well yesterday with him not being on the sideline. So I want to give Justin Fields some love, even though they lost yesterday to the 49ers. But, the 49ers is a little better team than the Bills. But, yeah.
Steven.
Hey, what's up, fellas? Appreciate you having me back. Obviously, the biggest winners are the Rams. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't come back for that. One thing I wanted to say, Kenneth touched on it. I don't really have a biggest winner in this scenario, but I'm going to swag it out I'm going to piggyback off of what Kenneth said. The Steelers are the biggest winner because Baker Mayfield is the biggest loser in the NFL.
Yes.
The biggest loser. Coach, what'd you call me last year? The most
you're the most hated man in Berea, Ohio.
The most hated man in Berea, Ohio, and everybody on our network busted my balls for not liking Baker Mayfield. I didn't like Baker Mayfield before it was cool. Now everybody doesn't like Baker Mayfield. But in all seriousness, I think that the Browns fans, they're seeing a little bit of what we were talking about last year, though, Coach, because last season, the biggest issue with this team was the average play of Baker Mayfield. It reminds me a lot of what we had with Jared Goff in LA, because you would see such tremendous play from. I don't know how you have an Odell Beckham on this team and him have 1 catch for 6 yards any night. Like, that's inexcusable. And we've seen Baker Mayfield throw to guys like Landry and Austin Hooper, players like that. whatever their idea of Odell Beckham's of, they don't like the antics that come along with their wide receiver. But overall, I believe that Odell is a great receiver.
Yeah.
I think we're lost him.
You going in and out, Steven.
Yeah, you going in and out, bruh.
My bad, fellas. I'm out and about right now, but no, I just wanted to piggyback off what Kenneth said about the Steelers being the biggest winners because Baker Mayfield is the biggest loser in the NFL.
But you know what's funny about that, Steven, though? The moment we called him out, that's when he started having a historic November and December to remember. So, Steven, you might be because remember, we right around this time last year, we were like, look, what's going on with Baker? And then Baker put on a hell of a performance the final 2 months of the season.
If Baker wants to play meaningful football in December, he better ask Santa Claus for a new shoulder for Christmas because he's in trouble. He is in trouble.
I don't think Baker should have been out there yesterday.
No,
he should have been. He should have
completely hurt the football team yesterday.
Yeah, and we beat up Baker Mayfield for that. But I don't think yesterday was really all on him because he should have never been out there. He didn't look like
he shouldn't have been out there.
So I think it's on the coaching and Case Keenum. Listen, I think this is the front office really trying to evaluate what they do, but do they not realize they got a franchise tag? Sit Baker. If you really ain't convinced or there's nothing out there for you to upgrade on Baker on, franchise tag him.
Yeah.
Drop the franchise tag and do how Dallas did Dak. Well, we don't really know how much he's worth, this and that and the other. And revisit the conversation next year. Like that's your option you're gonna have to do. But do you really, based on you trying to figure out whether you're gonna keep this guy around for the long term, do you want to kill him in the process? Because he should have never been out there. Like that's just
should have been.
It ain't on him. It's on him, but it's not because he shouldn't have been out there.
He should be out there. It's because that harness. I'm just like, dude, that harness is not gonna help him. Like they show that harness. I'm like, all you're gonna do is you gonna keep it stationary. But if he get hit,
it's over.
Did you guys see the shot that he took on the sidelines? And then he gets up and he starts trying to pump up the crowd and everything.
Yeah.
And then what does he do on the next play? He overthrows his receiver. Like, so you can try and be the emotional leader all you want, but if you can't physically play, then don't hurt your football team in a game that was that important. Because I think Case Keenum could have put up 16 points yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I really do.
I think so too.
I just think he was kind of scared Case Keenum might come for his job.
Yeah, but you play that out though. That you can't sit there and you can't think about that when you're a Baker Mayfield. You got to be that's an insecure move. If that was the case, you can't think about that. You got to know your football team and like it hurt the team. And now they're 4-4. They're in last place in the division.
Right.
And we can talk about how bad he played, but he should have never been out there.
Never played,
So whoever hits
him playing,
the doctors, whoever, that's on him.
Him playing hands Case Keenum the job yesterday, the way that he played.
Yeah.
And you know what? Yes, he's hurt. He's in the sling. So then sit it out. Like, if you really want to get paid, why wouldn't you take a week or two off, get right? Hopefully Case can win you a game or two, and then you come back because the job is still yours, and then really make a push in November like Coach was talking about, because that's when he played his best football last year, was November and December. But
and
don't
what's
go out
crazy
there and take shots. Like, it's dumb.
And what's crazy is like we've seen Case Keenum on teams play really well. It's really just a matter of the team that he's on. And so I wonder if Baker's insecurity comes from the fact that they signed him to this team. Because this is something that Baker probably saw coming, that if we all talked about it in the offseason. The draft that they had was stellar. Their offseason acquisitions were awesome. They have the running back. Their offensive line is tremendous. Jeff speaks on their offensive line a lot, and their defense got better. They did everything that they could to say, Baker, this is your move now. You are the one that is in control of the destiny of this team.
Yep.
But just in case that you don't do it, we have Case Keenum on the bench, and we've seen him on a couple of teams carry them to some really good victories. All they need really is someone to hand the ball off to two really good running backs and make open passes. That's it. They just need a bus driver.
If you're insecure about Case Keenum taking your job, then you are not a good quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it boils down to. Because Case, yes, can he win games? Sure. But if you're a franchise quarterback, you're not concerned about Case Keenum taking your job.
Shouldn't.
I agree with you. But the Browns is banged up too as well.
And you're a playoff winning quarterback, okay?
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No. Yeah, that's all I had to say, JP. Yeah.
Oh, well, the Browns is banged up too as well. Kareem Hunt's out. Nick Jones didn't have a great game. Jarvis Landry just came back. Then you have, Denzel Ward, who's, an underrated cornerback. He was out yesterday. So the Browns is a little bit banged up. And if I'm Odell Beckham Jr., I would be walking into that Browns office and ask for a trade before tomorrow.
I wouldn't ask.
If I was Odell, too, I'd try and catch a ball with two hands.
Exactly.
Because that one over the middle would have won the football game. If you go up with two hands, you make that catch, you're in the red zone.
I don't think it was as I've seen the play. I don't think it's as flagrant as what everyone makes it out to be. And this is what I was saying earlier before my shoddy, 5G was kicking out on me, was that Odell Beckham is super talented. There's a quarterback out there that would love to have Odell Beckham. There's several of them. He's too valuable. It's way too talented. There's a reason that they made the move to get him in the first place. But for whatever reason, Baker Mayfield and him they don't jive. We saw this even with Eli Manning towards the latter part of his career. That's why he wanted out of New York. He wants to go somewhere and be included in an offense. I guarantee you, Kansas City would love to have him. Green Bay would love to have him. New Orleans would love to have him. There's a whole slew of teams out there right now that would die to have an Odell Beckham level player. And we saw this with Antonio Brown just last year before he went to go play with Tampa Bay. Everyone thought he was done and washed up, but it just turns out he's not playing with quarterbacks. Put him on a team with a quarterback and he looks like AB of old. And I think the same thing could be true with OBJ.
My Odell feelings are also coming out because he's on my fantasy team and he's really screwing me over right now. So that's probably just me projecting, God damn it, figure it out.
Yeah. But you gotta think about it though. Like last year when y'all was saying Baker played really well in November, December, Odell was out. And he played really good ball, without Odell being there. And they just couldn't click. I think it's just because Baker's ego. It's just like some personal issue he had with Odell. But if I was Odell, I would be demanding to be traded tomorrow to some team because you only get targeted one time for only 6 yards. That's just sad. It's just really sad.
Yeah. And I think my biggest winner this week has got to be, like you said, the backup quarterbacks, Cooper Rush, Mike White, Trevor Siemian. I know John Elway's punching the L. And then also I think Green Bay by shadow die. Even though that was a Thursday night game, people kind of have overshadowed that one. That was a big win. Yeah. I say Aaron Rodgers is the best deodorant in football. He covers up every mistake, everything that's going on with that team. They lost 3 of their top receivers. Their secondary was shot. They found 2 games in a row where they found ways to win football games. And
running back isn't producing like he used to.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I think that's a big win, and that puts them pretty much in the catbird seat as far as top teams in the NFC. So and getting a nice win in Arizona, which is a house of horrors for many of us. But yeah. So fellas, we got the winners. We got to talk about the losers. So who is your biggest loser this week? I'm gonna go with you first, Kenneth. What you got?
Can it be Giants fans having to watch this game tonight?
No.
It's not fair to make fun of them now. It's just going to be way more fun on Saturday to do it. I don't know. I think Arizona's a big loser. I really do, because Kyler's going to now be out for a week or two.
JJ Watt's out for the season.
You have the Rams winning. Like, they've been matching you all year. Now you're even with them. They just got better in your own division. So overall, I think you also have DeAndre Hopkins banged up. Like, overall, like injuries are hitting Arizona pretty bad at a time where they can't, because you need to be holding serve with the Rams. I think all that this has done is solidified the fact that they're going to be in the wild card and the Rams are going to win the division. Now, it'll obviously come down to that second matchup between these two teams. I don't know when it is. I'd have to look at the schedule, because the only way that Arizona, I think, can win this division is if they win that game, because then they would have the double over the Rams. So I think Arizona's just a big loser because the injuries are starting to pile up at a time where you really don't need them to.
Yeah. Steven, what you got?
So, man, I was listening to our show, like our See You Sunday show, and I was listening to the takes, and I was listening to all the love that was given on that show for one particular matchup. And man, I live close to this team.
I knew he was going there.
I live so close to this team, and that the expectations were high on the jump, and now they're just the same old team. Jacksonville Jaguars, man. Everybody, I listened to the second part of See You Sunday today on Spotify, and I was just listening to everybody's take. My boy's dad said that he was like, I don't want to say that they'll win easily, but I think that they're going to win this game. And I mean, you have supposedly a franchise quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, which I'll still hold my reservations on him. I still think Justin Fields is going to be the best quarterback out of this class. Just saying. But, man, Jacksonville Jaguar fans, it's like you get this guy who's touted to be a generational quarterback. You get this guy who's touted to be one of the best football minds in the world. You've signed so many defensive players on this team to big contracts. You try to draft well. You hit on guys like Shenault and Robinson, but it's just like the Jaguars, man, they're the biggest losers. I mean, even the Lions are still losing, but they don't have they're meeting expectations right now. The Lions are meeting expectations. The Jacksonville Jaguars lost to Geno Smith, and that's pretty much they threw a flea. Like, when's the last time you saw a flea flicker and someone get burned on defense the way that they did? It was such a poor game. And I'm sorry, Jacksonville Jaguar fans. Y'all are the biggest losers this week.
Mo, what you got?
The LA Chargers. I'm going to LA Chargers, and I'm Justin Herbert. Like the Chargers and Herbert and the Chargers, however you want to put it. They done dropped 2 games in a row. They offense done look horrible 2 games in a row. Justin Herbert done had multiple turnovers 2 games in a row. After the Cleveland game, when we were deeming Justin Herbert, we were taking the Chargers serious. Their only loss was the 2017 loss to Dallas. Justin Herbert is so amazing. Not that he's not a really good quarterback. He still is really good. I'm not saying he's going to be a dumpster fire. But what I'm saying is he's an example of everybody jumping on the hype train and deeming him something too early. Justin Herbert is the reason why we started creating, not us, but people started creating the conversations of who would you rather have? And, Tua is absolutely horrible. And Justin Herbert he should have been. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Herbert or Tua better than Herbert. I'm just saying we started all that conversation. Herbert this, Herbert that. Herbert's better than Burrow. Herbert maybe should have went to Cincinnati. This and that and the other.
Coach, can you tell him how to pronounce his name, please?
Haircut. My fault.
Just a haircut. Just a haircut.
And he has played like a young quarterback, right? But we deemed him the guy, the future, the greatest thing. He might be better than what Patrick Mahomes was in his second year, and the Chargers could win a Super Bowl. Like we heard all these things, and they lose to Mac Jones and the Patriots.
McCorkle.
And then they lose to McCorkle Jones and the Patriots, and they can't score against the Baltimore Ravens. That can't be that's not a problem. This was a game. I'm not saying they should have went in there and won easily, but they should have secured being 5-2. Like now being 4-3, if Kansas City wins tonight against the Giants, that changes the whole dynamic of the Chargers only being ahead of Kansas City. Like it really does. And it all falls to because everybody was talking about Chargers this, Chargers that, one of the best teams in the NFL. Now they look average just like the rest of them trash old teams in the AFC. So they got to be – I'm with everybody and who they pick as biggest losers, but the Chargers are also on that list. They're one of them.
Hey, and I don't want to spoil this for anybody's take, but he wasn't the only young quarterback that everybody's saying this is the next big something that lost to a team that they shouldn't have either.
Oh, that's more.
Joseph.
Oh, that's more.
Joey Buckets.
Yo, Joey. Hey, what you got,
Baby
JP?
Kangaroo Burrow.
Yeah, this other team too in this AFC that everybody was so high on. Oh, this quarterback is going to be great. This receiver is going to be great. He's going to be the guy. The Cincinnati Bengals pissed me off yesterday. I mean, absolutely god awful.
Tell them.
Burrow, QBR rating of 34-35.
Is that good or bad?
That's bad. That is bad.
Atrocious.
Okay.
The rushing, 41 yards. Joe Mixon had one touchdown, but 33 yards, 14 carries. And Jamar Chase, that we were so high on, who's probably might win Offensive Rookie of the Year. 3 receptions. He got targeted 9 times. That's god awful. 32 yards. The highest was T. Higgins, 4 receptions, 97 yards. I mean, the offense looked god awful, and the defense looked god awful. Letting Mike Wilson looking like Tom Brady, Kurt Warner, from the grocery store.
Mike White.
Throwing.
Mike White.
Oh, Mike
Whoever.
White. Yeah, I'm sorry. Mike White, like 400 something yards, 3 touchdowns. He looked like Kurt Warner out there from the Rams yesterday. I mean, God, CJ Mosley, I haven't heard his name in a while since his Ravens days. Got 10 tackles. Shaq Lawson with an interception. Shout out to my guy Shaq Lawson too. I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals looked god awful yesterday, losing to the Jets right here. Like I said, they were
the Titans
so
did it
high.
too. So
they were so high. They were so high that I had them at, and then they just came back down to planet Earth.
And I tell you, great minds think alike. So, Steven, I agree with you with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, to add context to what Steven said, Jacksonville led in just about every statistical category and lost the football game. They had the most yards, total yards, passing yards, rushing yards. They even had the ball for 31 minutes. They even controlled the time of possession and lost 31-7.
They got skunked.
They got skunked. Like, you know how bad that's almost just like how Wake Forest and Army was last week. Like how Wake Forest only had the ball for like 17 minutes and scored 70 points. Like, I thought that was bad. This is worse because they getting paid for this. They're
getting paid too, Coach. Like,
I mean, they getting NILs. They getting.
You just don't know what their contracts are. I'll give you that.
Correct. They getting NILs. We talking about big boy money. I mean, they got trust me. Don't get me wrong. You're right.
Jacksonville Jaguars gave up a flea flicker touchdown.
Bro,
Geno Smith looked amazing yesterday.
And Urban Meyer wouldn't even do that at Ohio State.
No. Hey, Urban's on his way out.
Urban's trying to get a front office job. I've been saying that.
Right. This getting worse. Like you said, at least, and like you said, even Steven point where this team has talent. Like Detroit, we understand.
Allegedly.
We knew. We're better than Detroit. Like you said, versus your meet expectations versus, damn, you should have won this game, especially just look at it from the statistical standpoint. And, like you said, my goodness, Geno Smith. And even we all, like we said on Saturday, who would you take, Trevor Lawrence or Geno Smith?
I heard that today, and I was like, ooh, this did not age well.
I was like, it sure didn't. It's like, I thought about it. I was getting ready to say I would take Trevor Lawrence in the 6th grade versus Geno Smith in West Virginia.
And you know what? You know what that highlights, though, Coach? Is how hard it really is to be a good quarterback in the NFL on a consistent basis.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if you're supposed to be the next best thing as a rookie quarterback. You still have to earn your keep, man. And Geno Smith, everybody knows that it didn't work out for him. What was it in the Jets, right? He played for the Jets, and he was supposed to be the next big thing, but he stuck around, man. Like, regardless of how we feel about him as a starting level QB, how often do we see, and I hate to say this, especially an African-American quarterback, stick around and make a long career as a backup quarterback? Right. That's difficult in of itself, let alone for any quarterback.
Yeah.
But Geno Smith still paying his dues. He gets an opportunity in Seattle to start, and he looks like a good quarterback, man. Like, granted, it's against the Jaguars, right? But Trevor Lawrence, on the other hand, like, has the world as his oyster. Number 1 overall pick, supposed to be the next best quarterback talent since Andrew Luck, and he was the next best one since Peyton Manning, right? So he has this legacy, this whole, you know, family tree of quarterbacks that he's got to live up to, and all the expectations are high for him, and he just doesn't live up to it. So it just goes to show you how hard it is on a weekly basis to be a good NFL quarterback. That's why it makes I'm comfortable to say that Baker Mayfield is a trash quarterback, because no, I'm playing. But in all seriousness, even like your average quarterbacks, like a Baker Mayfield, it shows how hard it is for him just to be an average quarterback in the NFL on a consistent basis, right? Because we see a rookie in Trevor Lawrence have an opportunity ahead of him to have a statement win, and they get skunked.
I mean, you know, I feel bad for Trevor Lawrence, though. I ain't gonna like really like whip him to shreds like this year and stuff. I mean, you got to get a coach first.
He's got one of the best coaches.
He got one of the best offensive coordinators.
I'm not feeling bad for him.
He's the number 1 overall pick, bro.
Coming before the season, we was all talking about linking him and Urban Meyer. Well, oh my God, what a link up! Does he have the best weapons in the NFL? No, but does he have the best weapons for a rookie quarterback? I mean, I guess you could argue Chicago, but he has a better offensive line than the Bears do. But I guess Allen Robinson would be the best receiver out of all of them. But you got Marvin Jones Jr., Chenault, who's actually been fairly well. I know Chark broke his ankles, but when we were coming into the season, we're like, man, they got Etienne and Robinson in the backfield. They surrounded him where you're like, okay, now Chark got hurt and Etienne never played. But he's still, Marvin Jones Jr. has had a couple big games early. Laviska Shenault has had flashes of playing really well. Like, the offensive line isn't that bad. You have James Robinson. Like, you don't have an excuse to literally statistically be one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Only because everybody told me we were getting God's gift with long hair as a quarterback. That's all I'm saying. If the expectations weren't there for him, even as the number 1 pick, if he had Justin Fields' expectations, well, we don't know how good he's really going to be, how he's going to translate in the NFL, then you take a step back at how you look at him. Like, you like, oh, okay. But because they told us, since Andrew Luck, since Peyton Manning, these were literally, like, Peyton Manning was one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play. Andrew Luck retired early, but was on his way talent-wise where he'd be in the conversation in top 10, 15, 20 quarterbacks of all time or whatever. And you're telling me Trevor Lawrence is that guy day one. Everybody's like, he's a day one impact, and he's playing like one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL.
And that's the media's fault for like compelling him.
No.
Look, great quarterbacks had like bad first year, and they bounced back in the second.
And you're right. And you're right. But listen to this.
Yeah, Peyton, Troy Aikman.
Yep. So hang on. How many years did Gardner Minshew play last year? Before last year, was last year his rookie year as a quarterback, like his first year being a starter in the NFL?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm pretty sure it was. If not, it was his second. But here's the thing. Shenault looked better as a wide receiver with Gardner Minshew last season than what we're seeing with him this year with God's gift to quarterback. I'm just saying.
And the thing is, almost at JP's point in the sense that I think we need to stop like overanalyzing these kids, because I heard Trevor Lawrence in 2014 as a 6th grade kid. In 6th grade. Dude, I've never seen that type of. I've seen basketball players maybe like, you know, as far as that, but not a quarterback that's in the 6th grade being highly touted. Like, dude, like I remember that YouTube clips of him almost 8 years ago as a middle school kid. So then, like you said,
last year was Minshew's second year. Minshew's second year.
Okay. Like you said, and I put it this way. it's growing pains, and that's the thing. I think he's still gonna be okay. He got to give it some time, and I think like Peyton Manning, he led the league in interceptions his first year.
Oh yeah. Well, then here's the thing too. Here's the thing too. If we're gonna play that card, then we need to get off of Justin Fields and the criticism that he's been getting too. Like not us. I'm saying media.
People. Period. Yeah, because they kill Fields and they don't like. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, his offensive line is horrible. They look at the fact he has Allen Robinson and they're like, oh, he's supposed to be absolutely amazing. His O-line's horrible. His starting run, he's on his third string. They brought their fourth string running back in the game.
He's got an Allen Robinson that doesn't want to be there.
Exactly. But he didn't want to be there. They franchise tagged him. That's a story for another long day. I hate the franchise tag. But he didn't want to be there in the first place. They didn't want to pay him. He didn't want to be there. They didn't want to lose him. So they're like, you know what? We'll franchise tag you. But everybody, like, they kill Justin Fields. We're killing Zach Wilson. It looks worse because Mike White comes in and plays absolutely amazing. So it does look worse. I will say that. But then we're like, well, Jimmy G is playing horrible. And everybody's like, well,
Gase. I mean,
and everybody's like, trust Kyle Shanahan. That Kyle Shanahan when you bring Trey Lance in, if Kyle Shanahan don't say that Lance is ready, then he must be ready.
Watch him.
But keep losing, San Fran. Like if that's the case, but we deem these rookie quarterbacks coming into the draft. We hype them up so much for the draft, and then we don't like let it die down and let them ease on into the NFL. Now we continue with that draft hype evaluation, and it's just not fair. But still, I'm with Steven. You can't tell me I'm getting God's gift and then you gave me the devil's advocate. Like let's just be honest here.
It's the same thing that I heard last year with Baker Mayfield. The same thing that I heard last year with Baker Mayfield is like, well, it's not his fault. He's got this. He's had different coaches, whatever. Like at some point, you being selected number 1 overall means that you have it's an invitation for more criticism. At least it should be, because if we're picking on Lamar Jackson when he came into the league compared to other quarterbacks, then I mean that same invite should be to guys who were selected ahead of them. Like that's all I'm saying, because I get sick of seeing the Justin Fields criticism, and then he has a good game, and then everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, like who knew Justin Fields could play football like this?"
Like anybody who watches,
anybody that watches football.
And for Baker's defense, I mean, what he has done for this franchise, we can't ignore that. This was an 0-16
That's a lot better.
Hell yeah, exactly. This team was 0-16, 1-15 franchise, and they went.
Who else got drafted the same year as Baker?
Josh Allen. There's a lot of guys. Got
on his own team. Who got drafted
on his own team in Oklahoma or Cleveland?
In Cleveland the same year. They had 2 top 5 picks. They picked Baker Mayfield.
Oh, and then the cornerback. What's the boy from
Denzel Ward?
Denzel Ward. Okay, like he's been there just as long, and he's been their best defender for a long time. Correct. They also bring in Nick Chubb, and they also bring in Kareem Hunt. Like this is the thing with Baker, and I'm sorry to take this away from the criticism that I'm giving Trevor Lawrence, but
they brought in Odell.
They brought in Odell and Jarvis Landry and Austin Hooper, who is a Pro Bowl player.
Shout out to the front office.
Shout out to the front office. Like, and this is what I'm saying. It's like the quarterback gets all the love, and it's like none of the blame. And but here's the thing too, is they get paid the most out of anybody else on the team.
Oh, they do, yeah.
They get they get like 60% of the cap. So it's like you get 60% of the cap. You're the number 1 overall pick. You get surrounded by talent, but I can't criticize them.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's all I'm saying for Trevor Lawrence.
You the number 1 pick.
Number one pick. Like you're supposed to be transcendent. It doesn't matter what year, what class, what position. If you're drafted number 1, you have higher expectations from me. I'll just leave it like that.
Yeah, I agree. Especially at quarterback. Especially at quarterback.
And hopefully he can turn it around in Jacksonville. If not, like you said, it would be tragic.
Yeah,
we don't turn the team around, because he's supposed to be the one that. Yeah, to me, I think he's going to save them from going to England. That's what I look at it. So hopefully he will save Jacksonville. Hopefully, because at this point, the only thing that's popping in Jacksonville is the cocktail party once a year. In Georgia.
Bro, that was a crazy drive from Jacksonville.
And them gunshots late night. That's the only thing. Late night.
No, thank you. But so fellas, let's round out. All right, this week's Overreaction Monday. I want your biggest overreaction from week 8. Kenneth.
The Rams are going to win the Super Bowl.
Kenneth, 6-1. Kenneth, what do you have?
You're going to me. Well, I was going to say that this is the best Cowboys team of this century, but I feel like that was already obvious given the fact that we've been that bad for the last 20 years. So instead, the Cincinnati Bengals aren't making the playoffs.
Ooh.
They are not making the playoffs at 5-3. And they had to get that Jets game because when you look at their remaining schedule, it's not going to be fun for them. Now, Cleveland, we know that could go either way given the way that Baker has played. I think if Case Keenum starts, though, they're actually in trouble. Then you get your bye week. You play Raiders, Steelers, Chargers, Ravens, Chiefs, and Browns still are on their schedule. Now, we know that the Chiefs aren't where we thought that they were going to be, but the Ravens are still there. You have to play Cleveland again. So overall, when I'm looking at this team, I feel like you had to get that Jets game because I think you need 10 wins to get into the playoffs. I don't see 5 wins on their schedule left, so I think the Bengals are missing the playoffs this year.
Okay. Steven, what you got?
Okay. Are y'all ready for this one?
I'm ready.
The Rams are going to win the Super Bowl.
Say it.
Say it with your chest.
Okay.
No, in all seriousness, I think the Titans are still going to do really well without Derrick Henry because they have Julio Jones and they have AJ Brown. It's not like they're bereft at talent. And one of the things that I was hearing y'all talk about when y'all were on the whole, King Henry is gone thing is that you can have a good offense and not have like a number 1 running back. And this may be something that Tennessee finds, and it may not be pretty like the first week and the second week, but I think with Ryan Tannehill on this team and the offensive weapons that they have, I still think that they'll succeed without him. I think they'll be an over 500 football club even without Derrick Henry moving forward. And he's supposed to be out for 6 to 10 weeks is the last thing that I saw. So, I mean, if you're talking about 10 games without Henry, I still think that they'll win maybe 6, maybe 7 games without him because of the conference and the division that they're in and the weapons that they still have for Ryan Tannehill to throw the ball to. And their defense is just not great, okay? And this is something that we've criticized Tennessee for the past 2 seasons now. Is like you have a linebacker as a head coach, but your defense isn't great. It's getting better, I think, week by week. I still think that Tennessee will win. If he misses 6 weeks, I'll say they win 4 games. If he misses 10 weeks, I'll say they win 6 games.
Yeah. Mo, what you got?
Man, it's tough to overreact on a lot of things. But
You're a Cowboys fan.
I know, but I'm one of the very few realistic ones. I don't do this, and I haven't done this in a while.
Oh boy,
so
you said it last year. Hold up.
No, I didn't.
You
did. I
did.
said we were going to the playoffs. I said we were going to the playoffs after they beat Minnesota.
No, sir.
It was after they beat Minnesota. Yeah, I did say. I said we were going to the playoffs, and I said we were going to beat the Bucs. I said we were going to go to the playoffs and win a playoff game. That's what I said. I ain't say we was going to the Super Bowl. I said we was going to beat the Bucs. Yeah, I remember. I know exactly which you talking about. I know which overreaction Monday you talking about. Yeah. I know. I'm with you, but I'm not gonna say Dallas gonna win the Super Bowl. But what I am gonna say is that you gonna have to go through Arlington to get to SoFi. No matter who it is, the Cowboys are gonna finish with the 1 seed. They're gonna finish with the number 1 seed.
We're going to SoFi our next home game. So,
but I'm saying when it comes playoff time, Dallas is gonna have the number 1 seed in the NFC, and you're gonna have to go through Arlington. So we're getting a first round bye. You're gonna have to go through Arlington to get to SoFi. No matter who it is, whether it's the Rams, the Cardinals, I don't care. They're going to have to prove their worth in the second round. I'm not saying they can't, but my overreaction is saying that we finished with the number 1 seed, and whatever team makes it to the Super Bowl, whether it's Dallas or you're going to have to go through Arlington. You're going to have to take a trip to Arlington to possibly take a trip to SoFi. Good luck, because the Cowboys this year, Stephen A is eating everything he was talking about. My bad. I had to. All right, go ahead, JP.
Such a Cowboys fan.
I know, right?
You can't be a Cowboys fan without
I can't say
yelling
nothing.
at
This man just said that I'm one of the realistic Cowboys fans.
Yeah.
And then went, oh, Cowboys! Like, okay, like, let's relax here. Like,
It's a
holy
requirement.
yeah.
You have to. It's part of the membership. You have to do it.
You have
I,
to.
When you
do
get
it.
I don't.
sworn in.
I actually don't.
Woo! It's been a while since I've been able to do that. That's why. Woo, hey.
It's not fun.
I didn't even enjoy that.
Oh,
God.
JP, what you got?
Ooh. The Saints might win the NFC South.
Oh,
They might win the NFC South. Over, they just might because they're one game
Not over
behind
Carolina,
the Bucs.
Mo.
They
You
came
gonna say
behind
that
the
with
Bucs.
Jameis out?
They could get a
Trevor,
quarterback.
Simeon
They
looked
Cam
good.
Newton's still out there. Nick Foles, if
Ooh.
they could do something with it, you
Taylor
know,
Heineke's available.
the defense is good. Hey, Michael Thomas is coming back.
They got
Alvin
Taysom
Kamara
Hill.
looking good.
Get Odell.
They just
Get
might
Odell.
win the NFC South. I'm just looking at the schedule.
Trade for Odell.
Hey, exactly. Hey, they got winnable games the rest of the season though. The Bucs might.
Hey,
They
JP.
might fall to. So I mean, they could win the NFC South. They're very underrated. Sean
never
Payton's
heard
a
his
good
voice
coach
that high.
as well.
Right.
Dennis Adams is a really
I
good
like it.
defensive coordinator. They might win it. The Saints might win it. I hate to say it because I like the Bucs, but the Saints could win it.
Man,
All
JP,
right.
don't listen to
I
Mo,
pitched
man. Mo
JP.
tried to tell me that Carolina, or no, what was it? Hang on.
I said that Carolina was going to the playoffs.
You said no. Who you told me was going to be better in their division than the Saints would be in the NFC South?
Carolina.
Mm.
I did.
Yep.
Me and Kenneth got to hold that one. We got to hold the Carolina. And when they was 3-0, I was riding it hard too. I'm like, oh, I told y'all.
Who's saying that they're not making it? Who said they're not making it?
They're what, a game behind? They're 2 games behind.
I'm just saying
They
they won yesterday.
Falcons
They're not
looking
out
pretty
of
good.
it. They're
Hey,
not
the
out of
Falcons
it.
looking pretty good. I mean,
They're
Calvin
not.
Willie's out. Though.
I'm not wearing anything yet. I'm still on the Carolina train. You hopped off.
No, I'm still on.
You hopped off. Get out of here. I don't want to hear it. I'm still on the train.
The Falcons are trash. The
Man,
Falcons are
Kenneth is comfy
trash.
on that train all by himself. Look at him.
I'm all by myself. I got plenty of leg room. It's nice.
The Panthers, if the season ended today, the Panthers make the playoffs.
Yeah, but they didn't do better they didn't do better than the Saints though. If the season ended today,
The Saints is looking good,
Saints looking good,
and they
bro.
beat the Bucs, and they got the
They
Bucs,
lost.
and they got the Bucs coming again.
You're right.
But they lost, bro. They lost Jameis. Like that has to matter.
When's the last time you heard someone say, "Yeah, but they lost Jameis Winston"? And
the
mean it?
replacement is Trevor Simeon. Like Jesus, like
They had like a
I know
30
he
for 30
amazing
special.
yesterday. But I know he played amazing yesterday, but we've seen him as a starting quarterback. He was a bum. Like let's just
Stu's neck is like beat red right now. Listen, like somewhere
Cam
Stu
Newton's
in
still out, though.
in the ether, he hears
Oh, they're
you
not
saying
bringing in
that
Cam
Jameis
Newton.
Winston is playing meaningful football for a team
just
right
saying,
now.
man.
yeah, he is.
That was a little.
Is Taysom Hill hurt? Like is Taysom Hill hurt? Am I missing something? Is he injured?
Think
I think he was.
he was.
Uh,
I thought he had a
he
concussion.
was.
There's no other reason why Simeon
No, he had a
would have been
concussion in like week
starting.
5.
Yeah, he had a
Didn't he?
concussion. Yeah, we knocked him out.
He's expected to clear concussion protocol by week 9 Falcons game.
Damn, so he been out since because we played them like
Week
October
5?
10th.
Yeah, he's been out a while. He took a
Maybe
good
he's
off.
coming back.
I was
Nick
gonna
of
say
time.
he better have been hurt for the simple fact. Like I didn't know but I was like, bro, Taysom Hill better have been hurt for Trevor Simeon to come in here. Because there ain't no way in practice you telling me Simeon to look better than all hell Taysom Hill that they paying what, like $30 million this year?
You want to know why that might work? Because they got a good offensive coordinator. They got a good coach. Versus he had Adam Gase in Denver. So
Yes.
that makes a difference.
Yes.
I think that makes a difference. Because look at Jameis. We used to think of Jameis biscuit, no biscuit. Now he's methodical with the football. Like he was it was 13 before the game. He had 13 touchdowns and 3 interceptions before the so that's not Jameis Winston's number.
When we looked at Jameis, though, we said his only problem was the turnovers. Trevor Simeon had, but we weren't talking Jameis. We weren't mad about his touchdowns. We weren't mad about his pass yards. None of that. But this dude, Trevor Siemian, we were talking about his talent. He wasn't good enough to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Jameis was like, imagine how good he could be. He's playing back because of turnovers, but he still threw for over 5,000 yards. Trevor Siemian's a bum. Okay, I'm not right. But JP, you gonna wear that one though. I like that. This because it's Overreaction Monday. I love it. That you're right with Trevor Siemian to take the Saints to the NFC South.
Hey, Saints fans everywhere are just ready for Mo to keep bagging them though.
Watch what's gonna happen
if Trevor Siemian balls out.
Right, he
might go 500.
3 picks next game.
And I'm gonna tell you like this, right? We're gonna find out because it's really all boiled down to coaching. Because I'm gonna tell y'all one thing, and I'm gonna stand on the hill for this one. Mitchell Joe Montana Biscuit is gonna be a starting quarterback in this league next year. I don't care what none of y'all say.
I like it.
I agree. That's beyond that.
I like it.
Be a question.
Right.
I don't even think wouldn't call that an overreaction at all.
No, that's not over. That's not my overreaction at all.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying.
I thought that was your overreaction. I was like,
no, that's guaranteed.
Fine.
No, I'm just saying as far as like, because we're gonna realize like coaching makes a difference. Like Matt Nagy, you're gonna see how look what he's doing. You know, he's shortchanging Justin Fields and all the quarterbacks he's had. But my overreaction is Tennessee. I think Tennessee went from number 1 seed to wild cardish to Saturday at 1:00 game on wild card Saturday. Like they're gonna be the team that's gonna be the first team that's gonna play on wild card Saturday at this point. I mean, like we said, even though we talked about it on See You Saturday, that Kansas City, even though they somewhat struggling with the Giants tonight, but they're still a team that has gone to 3 AFC championship games. They beat them convincingly, and then they end up beating the Bills in convincing fashion. So those are kind of like some good wins on their end. So we definitely thought they were kind of poised to, potentially, challenge Buffalo. Because you think about it, at this point they would hold a tiebreaker over Buffalo because they beat them. So we were looking at them as really 1 seed-ish type of a football team. But then this injury happens. Oh, they're wild cardish.
I feel sorry for who has to start their playoff run against the Titans in the wild card. Like that's all I'm gonna say. If the Titans make it to the wild card and you get Henry back, and this offense has figured out how to throw the ball without Henry, and then you add him back, I feel sorry for whoever's got to play them in their first game.
Yeah, I mean potentially, yeah. I know it's gonna be interesting down the stretch who they will play. But yeah, so fellas, let's put a bow on this week's Overreaction Monday. So I'm gonna go around the horn, fellas. Final thoughts and upcoming projects. Plug your stuff. 6-1 Kenneth.
6-1 Kenneth. That's got a nice ring to it overall. My final reaction is I just got to keep plugging away at Vic to name our first son Cooper. It's been a really tough way of convincing her, but. I'll accept the middle name.
Good name though, Cooper Cotterill. That's cool.
Yeah, like Dak, Cooper, Leighton, Cotterill. Yeah, it's got a nice ring to it all around.
Cooper, Micah, Cotterill.
Yeah, exactly. Like overall, like we're just working the ins and outs of it, but I think she's coming around on it. So you can follow all my stuff at shooters_pod. You can find my latest tweet where I accepted Mo's resignation from the Carolina Panthers playoff bandwagon. And yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
No problem, kiddo. Always a pleasure. Steven.
Hey man, first off, it feels so good to be back on Overreaction Monday, man.
Yes.
And Coach, it's so good to link up with you finally since I've been back, man. Missed you.
Yes, indeed. Miss you
but
too.
Y'all can follow me on Twitter at Stephen G Hoops. Kenneth and I actually co-host a basketball podcast together called Breaking the Game. You can follow that anywhere at BTG NBA Pod. And then President at Off the Ball Network and myself co-host a draft show, which just kicked off. And we recently had Tyler Rucker on the show and had a great discussion on international players. You can follow that anywhere at Draft Capital NBA. And Draft Capital and Breaking the Game are both available anywhere that you get your podcast. Anything that y'all could do to help grow both of those platforms would be awesome. And then I'm going to close it out by saying go to offtheballnetwork.com for all of your sports needs. So many great articles and dudes just contributing on there for us. Do a lot of great work. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Jeff. Shout out to the rest of the fellas over there at the network. Best 4-letter network there is in the game right now.
Big time. 6-1 more. What you got?
You know, man, it's just amazing to be, right along there, 6-1 Mo. Like, I'm not gonna do it yet, but after this season, y'all gonna have to refer to me and Kenneth as NFC East champs, right? Like, 21-22. You and Rob gonna have to refer to us as that. You know that, right? Like,
it's gonna be tough.
We
bracing for it.
we're gonna come on the last Overreaction Monday show with our nice NFC East gear, straight from Fanatics. Quick little plug, but straight from
JP, I think that they're like one game away from the most wins out of the NFC East last season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we are.
You doubled your win. Yeah,
7-1. We already matched our win total from last year. We go 7-1. Yeah. And we'll match the Washington football team's win total from last year. So I think we just gonna
this is not about me.
Pull it out the water, but yeah, bro. I always love coming on Overreaction Monday. To have Steven back talking football, y'all don't know how exciting that is because Steven tries to undersell himself about how much football he knows, and then he just murdered his Rams take out the park. Tells us how great it is to have such a valuable asset like that today. Wish I could be on the same thing, but 6-1 will do for now. But you can follow me at Mo_Cheese15 on Twitter, Instagram, at UpperFlamesPod on Twitter, Instagram. Like Steven said, make sure you go to offtheballnetwork.com. But make sure you tune in on Dash Radio on Monday. It's Off the Ball Network Mondays, starting at 11 a.m. with my show, Up in Flames. What is it? Five straight hours of hoops.
You got you, and then you got Prez,
me,
and then you got
Prez, then breaking the game, then shooters, then hoopers. So 5 straight hours of hoops talk straight from Off the Ball Network every Monday. So definitely make sure you go check that out and give go ahead and favorite the Nothing But Net channel on Dash Radio. So
yes, sir.
Get the notification when that starts. But Couch, I appreciate you for having me on, bro.
Hey, no problem, man. Always. JP.
Hey, thank you for having me on Overreaction Monday with this panel and everything. This was very exciting and all that. Had to take my frustration out on the Bengals, and the Vikings just absolutely sucked last night against the Cowboys, who I really hate the most, but I guess give y'all props and everything. But you can follow me on JP Franchise 57 on Twitter, and you can check out my YouTube. It's just JP. I put out a new video of Charles Barkley. Who doesn't love Charles Barkley?
Man, that's a good man. JP, you're the best, dude. All your videos, man, are just gold, dude.
Man, I appreciate it, man. That I'm on my way to 1,200 subscribers, so subscribe down below, and then check us out on Off the Ball Network on YouTube too as well. We got college football recap, NFL recap, everything you need on Off the Ball, and check out offtheballnetwork.com. These guys do a great job, and hey, we're the best 4-letter network in the world right now. So check us out, Off the Ball Network.
Yes, indeed. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, on the Couch Coach Live. Check out the Couch Coach Live podcast. Anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, we're there. Everywhere you get them. Also, once again, always great opportunity to chop up with my guys. And we do it on the best 4-letter network in the nation. So definitely appreciate you for coming on, and definitely
the best host in the nation right here.
Man,
got to give it up to Couch Coach, man.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. I'm glad, now we linked up, and we linked up once again, So appreciate everybody, and we'll catch you guys on the next Overreaction Monday.
Much love, y'all.
Yes, indeed.